Hi, welcome back. In this screencast, we're going to look at some more tags in HTML. These tags are specific to uh, putting lists on your HTML page. HTML provides us with three different types of lists: ordered lists, unordered lists, and definition lists. Let's see how we can put an ordered list. An ordered list is included on a page by putting it inside, enclosing the list inside the OL tag. OL stands for ordered list. Each item within that list is included within the LI tags. So for example, in this list, if I have an ordered list for the technologies that I'm learning as an HTML for in this course, I could put HTML. I'm going to copy and paste this list item. For each list, you need to put the list item. Say CSS, say XML, JavaScript, okay, and say MySQL, finally PHP. Okay, so this is an ordered list. Let's see how it's rendered in our browser. You can see this is an ordered list because each of the list items is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The numbering that we use can be changed from HTML. Advisable to use CSS to change that numbers, but HTML also provides us with an attribute so that we can change the order, change the text, the numbers that we use over here. So let's say if I want to change that, I think a total of 6 of them provided. So you can see over here, 1 is by default. That means it will use numbers. If I want to use letters, I can have a small letter or a capital letter over here. So if I put a capital letter, this would be my input. You can change it to a smaller one, which would give me ABC, the smaller text. Also, I can use Roman numerals, putting a smaller I or a capital I. Okay, by default it uses one, just this. HTML5 added 2 more attributes, which says that to start a list from a new number. Suppose I don't want to start a list from 1, but I want to start a list from, let's say, 5. Okay, so this is an attribute which is added only for HTML5. Let's start equal to 5. If we go back, say this list starts from the number 5. Also provided by HTML5 is another Boolean attribute called reversed. What reverse does is it will start the list to start numbering the items from the max to the min. It's not going to sort your list, it's going to number it from 5 and then starts decreasing the number. Okay, so these are 2 attributes that are provided by HTML5, start and reversed, and these apply only for ordered list. Type will change the different types that is available for you. Now, apart from this, an unordered list is similar to an ordered list. Let's copy this, don't type it again. An ordered list similar to an ordered list. The only difference is instead of saying OL, you use UL. It stands for unordered list. Okay, I'm going to remove this again from here and see how the render is like. You can see that now we have these disks over here. These are called disks. We can change it to a hollow circle by changing the type to, let's say, circle. Again, this can be done from CSS, but HTML from its older version provides us with some options that we can change. So this is a disk, this is a circle. We can also use a square. So this is a square. We also have triangle, but Chrome doesn't support triangle and many browsers don't support, so they revert back to the basic one, which is using disk, which is the default one. So these are 2 types of list, ordered and unordered list. The attributes provided by HTML5 for the ordered list start and reverse doesn't work because this list is not ordered, so it doesn't make any sense using start and reversed over here. The third type of list that we have is the definition list. A definition list is like a dictionary. It allows you to define a term and then describe or define that term. A definition list is enclosed within the DL tag, and each item is again composed of two sub items, which is DT and DD. So DT over here stands for the definition term and DD stands for the definition description. Suppose let's say HTML over here, say hypertext markup language. Okay. Similar to this, you can provide more, which is CSS. Go back and see. It should be cascading style sheets. Similar to that, we have XML, which stands for extensible markup language. And apart from that, we also have something for SQL. It stands for structured query language. Okay, that's enough. See how it's rendered in the browser. See, each term is on the left hand side and a little indentation is provided and the definition of that term is provided. It's like a dictionary. You can style it as you like, but this is the basic way HTML style set. So these are the three types of lists provided by HTML. We have an ordered list, we have an unordered list, and we also have a definition list. Another thing that HTML does is we can nest the list. Nesting means we can add one list inside the other. Okay, let's say I have an ordered list and I want to nest an unordered list within it, or have an ordered list. Let's see what we can do. Let's say I'm just going to copy one of these lists and start modifying that list. Okay, now I copied this list, which is an ordered list. Let's remove this to be on the basic side. Let's say for an HTML, I want to include within that HTML an unordered list. So what I do is, for that part, or after that HTML part, I include another list item, or UL over here. Within that UL, I provide itself with more list items. Like for example, I can include some frameworks used by HTML. It's like Bootstrap or Foundation. Okay, something like that. So this is nesting of these lists. If you go back, you can see that this list is nested within our existing list as a sublist. So this is called nesting. An important property of nesting that we have to remember, which is part of majority of languages, is that when you nest something, the tag that you begin with should be the last tag you close with. Okay, so over here I'm opening with OL. It's like a stack. So OL means OL should be closed last over here. So if I'm using LI, LI should be closed first before I can. If I open another tag within it like UL and then LI, so that means LI should be closed first, then UL should be closed, and then OL. So it's a basic rule of nesting and should be followed again with HTML. Not just list tags, but for every HTML tag. Okay. One thing that we saw earlier, which I failed to mention, was using some of these tags. You see, when you put the paragraph tag or with the list tag, as you can see this list tag over here, whenever I put a new list, it comes below it. It doesn't come beside it, although I have a lot of space beside it. It comes below it. This is because some of the tags in HTML are block level tags. That means they occupy the whole space. Some of them, they don't do that. As we saw in the previous screencast, that we had an image tag. The image tag, let's say I'm going to stick to the same image that we had. Okay. And then I have another tag that we did, was the hyperlink tag. Let's say I'm going to stick to the same thing that we did previously. Okay. Let me get a typo over here. Should be href. Now when you go back to the rendering of this page, you will see that it doesn't come on a next line. It comes on the same line. You have this image and this. Whereas for lists, headings, and other things that we saw earlier, they all came on their own line. So this tells us that tags or elements in HTML are of two types: block level, which occupy the whole space, and there are inline. Some of them are inline, so that they just occupy the space that for the item they contain. So the image over here is 640 by 640 pixel, so it's only that area. Whereas this has Google text over here, so it will stop when the text finishes. Okay. Now, so if you want to have it on the next line, use something called as a break tag provided in HTML. A break tag will make it as if you are pressing the enter key. Okay, pressing the new line character. See, now it appears on its own line. So this is one tag that I failed to mention in the previous one. So this is about lists in HTML.